My perfect sister demanded I be her surrogate after my miscarriage. Then my husband dropped a bombshell that changed everything. That my sister, Clara, has always been the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect hair, perfect husband, perfect life. Growing up, I, 32F, was always in her shadow. While I struggled with endometriosis and a host of fertility issues, Clara, 35F, sailed through life, effortlessly conceiving her two miracle children, a boy and a girl, whom she paraded around like trophies. My husband, Mark, 33M, has been my rock through all of it. We've been together for 10 years, married for 5, and he's been incredibly supportive, attending every doctor's appointment, holding my hand through every procedure, and never letting me feel less than despite our struggles. Last year, after years of trying, we finally got pregnant. It was an IVF baby, a little girl we'd already named Lily. We were ecstatic. We'd bought a crib, painted the nursery a soft lavender, and meticulously planned out every detail of her arrival. Clara, of course, was pregnant at the same time with her third oopsie baby. She loved to complain about her easy pregnancies, the morning sickness that wasn't really morning sickness, the mild backache that she swore was debilitating. It was hard to hear, especially when I was going through my own, much more difficult experience. But I bit my tongue, reminding myself that everyone's struggles are valid, even if hers felt like a cruel mockery of my own. Then, at 18 weeks, it happened. We lost Lily. It was sudden, brutal, and utterly heartbreaking. One day, we were planning our future, and the next, it was shattered. The silence in the nursery was deafening. The empty crib, a constant, painful reminder of what we had lost. I spiraled into a deep depression, barely eating, barely sleeping, just existing in a haze of grief. Mark was there always. He took time off work, cooked for me, held me while I cried, and never once told me to get over it. He was, and is, truly the best husband a woman could ask for. Clara, on the other hand, was less understanding. She was due a month after I would have been, and she continued to talk about her pregnancy, her baby showers, her nursery decorations, as if my loss hadn't happened. When I finally gathered the strength to go to a family dinner a few weeks after the miscarriage, Clara, with her perfectly rounded belly, announced that she was having another boy. My mother, 60F, ever the peacemaker, hushed her, but Clara just shrugged and said, "It's not my fault she can't carry a baby to term. Some people are just built for it, I guess." I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I just numbly ate my food, feeling Mark's comforting hand on my knee under the table that a few months passed. I was slowly, painstakingly putting myself back together. We decided to take a break from IVF to give my body and mind a chance to heal. We were exploring adoption, fostering anything that could bring us the child we so desperately longed for. It was a difficult journey, but we were in it together. Then came the phone call. Clara was on the other end, her voice unusually subdued. "I have something important to tell you," she said, almost hesitantly. My heart sank. I braced myself for another one of her self-congratulatory announcements. But what she said next left me absolutely speechless. "I can't carry this baby to term." Apparently, she developed a rare and serious complication, placenta previa, and her doctors had advised her that continuing the pregnancy was extremely dangerous, not just for the baby, but for her own life. They recommended an immediate termination. That I felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Relief that I wasn't the only one who had experienced a devastating pregnancy loss. Guilt for feeling that relief. And then a wave of profound sadness for her and for the baby she was losing. Despite everything, she was still my sister, and this was a terrible thing to go through. "I'm so sorry, Clara," I said genuinely. "Is there anything I can do?" Her next words hit me like a physical blow. Yes, actually, I need you to be my surrogate. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. What? My doctor said that if I can't carry this baby, the next best option is a surrogate. And since you've already been pregnant and you're healthy and you're my sister, it just makes sense. I was dumbfounded. She knew about my fertility struggles. She knew about the pain of losing Lily, and she was asking me to carry her baby? It was beyond insensitive. It was cruel. Clara, I just went through a miscarriage. I can't. I just can't. I stammered, tears welling up in my eyes. But you've already been through it, so you know what to expect, she said, as if that made it easier. And this way, you be helping me, your sister, have a baby. Think of it as a gift. A gift? It felt more like a demand, a punishment. She continued. And it's not like you're doing anything else with your uterus right now, right? You said you were taking a break from IVF. So it's perfect. I was shaking with anger and disbelief. Clara, my uterus isn't a rental property for you to use when it's convenient. And I'm not some kind of baby-making machine. Don't be dramatic, she scoffed. It's family. Family helps family. And besides, imagine how happy Mom and Dad would be. They'd have another grandchild, and you'd be the hero. The hero. That was always Clara's angle, wasn't it? To make herself look good, to be the center of attention, even at the expense of others. I hung up the phone, my hands trembling. Mark found me, sobbing on the couch a few minutes later. When I told him what Clara had asked, his face went from concern to a hard, unyielding anger I rarely saw. She actually said that, he asked, his voice low and dangerous. Yes, I whispered, burying my face in my hands. That's it, he said, standing up. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with her and your parents enabling her. I was confused. What do you mean? I mean, I've had enough of them treating you like dirt, treating your pain as an inconvenience, and now demanding you sacrifice yourself for her perfect life. This stops now. The next day, Mark called for a family meeting. My parents, Clara, her husband, and Mark and I were all present. The tension in the room was palpable. My parents looked uneasy, sensing that something big was coming. Clara, ever the picture of oblivious entitlement, was already launching into a lament about her pregnancy complications. It's just so unfair, you know? I'm having such a difficult time. And now I have to find a surrogate, and it's just so much stress, she whined, glancing at me pointedly. Mark cleared his throat, cutting her off. Clara, we need to talk about your request to Emma yesterday. Clara perked up. Oh, yes. I was just telling Mom and Dad how great it would be if Emma could carry our baby. It's truly the perfect solution, isn't it? She beamed at my parents, who offered weak, uncomfortable smiles. No, Clara, it's not. Mark said, his voice firm and unwavering. It's an incredibly selfish, insensitive, and frankly, disgusting request. Emma is still grieving the loss of our daughter. She's been through hell, and for you to demand she put her body and her emotional well-being through that again, for your convenience, is beyond reprehensible. My parents started to interject. Now, Mark, don't be so harsh. But Mark held up a hand. No, I'm not being harsh. I'm being honest. And I'm tired of watching Emma be treated like this. I'm tired of watching her be the punching bag for Clara's perfect life. And I'm done with both of you enabling it. He looked directly at my parents. My mother gasped. Mark, what are you talking about? Then Mark dropped the bombshell. I'm talking about the fact that Clara isn't actually sick. She's not having placenta previa. She's not losing her baby. She's not even pregnant. The room went silent. Everyone stared at Mark, then at Clara, who had suddenly gone pale. What? My father finally managed to choke out. It's true, Mark continued, his voice cold. I found out a few days ago. Clara isn't pregnant. She hasn't been pregnant for months. She had a miscarriage herself, actually. A few months ago, my jaw dropped. Clara had a miscarriage, and she didn't tell anyone. She continued to pretend she was pregnant, even after Lily's death, even while talking about her oopsie baby and complaining about her mild backaches. The cruelty of it was unfathomable. How do you know this, Mark? My father asked, his voice filled with suspicion and disbelief. Because I heard her talking on the phone to a friend. Mark explained. She was crying, saying how she lost the baby and couldn't bear to tell anyone, especially not Emma, because then Emma would win. She was talking about how she had been pretending for months, stuffing pillows under her clothes, making excuses not to see doctors, even faking ultrasound appointments, and how she planned to miscarry the fake baby soon and then try to convince Emma to be her surrogate, because she deserved a baby after all she'd been through. Clara burst into tears. That's not true. He's lying. But her cries were weak, unconvincing. My mother looked horrified. My father looked absolutely gutted. Clara's husband, who had been silent until now, stood up and walked out of the room without a word. You faked a pregnancy, my mother whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of disbelief and utter disgust. And you tried to make Emma carry a baby that wasn't even yours, based on a lie? Clara continued to sob, but she didn't deny it. She couldn't. The truth was out. And it gets worse. Mark said, his voice hardening even further. She wasn't just faking the pregnancy to get a surrogate. She was doing it for sympathy, for attention. And because she couldn't stand the thought of Emma, the lesser sister, getting pregnant and having a baby, even if it meant she lost hers too. She wanted to one-up Emma, even in grief. My parents were stunned into silence. Clara continued to cry, but no one was listening anymore. Her performance had finally been exposed. So, Mark concluded, looking directly at my parents, this is where we draw the line. Emma and I are done. We're done with Clara, and we're done with anyone who enables her toxic behavior. If you choose to continue to support her, then you choose not to support us. My parents looked devastated. They had always put Clara first, always excused her behavior, always made me feel like I was second best. And now, they were being forced to choose. After a long, agonizing silence, my father finally spoke. Clara, he said, his voice surprisingly firm, get out. Get out of my house. Clara looked up, her face streaked with tears and snot. No. I said, get out, he roared. And don't come back until you've truly taken a long, hard look at yourself and the damage you've done. To your sister, to your husband, to us, to yourself. Clara, still sobbing, stumbled out of the house. My mother was openly crying now, but she didn't try to stop her. My father turned to me, his eyes filled with a pain I had rarely seen. Emma, he said, his voice choked with emotion, I am so sorry. We should have seen it. We should have stopped her years ago. We failed you. My mother came over and hugged me tightly, something she hadn't done in years. Oh, my sweet girl, she whispered. I am so sorry for everything. You deserve so much better. It was a small start, but it was a start. Mark put his arm around me, a silent promise of his unwavering support. The truth had finally come out, and while it was painful, it was also liberating. I had spent my entire life in Clara's shadow, constantly feeling like I wasn't good enough. But in that moment, with Mark by my side and my parents finally seeing Clara for who she truly was, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time, that we still have a long way to go, both with my parents and in my own healing journey. But I know one thing for sure. I am not going to let Clara's toxicity dictate my life anymore. And with Mark, my incredible husband, by my side, I know we can get through anything. We're still pursuing adoption, and we're hopeful that one day our family will be complete. We deserve happiness, and we're finally going to fight for it.